two, one. Hey, folks, welcome back to Candas Boxing Channel and
Bill knows
Bill from
boxing.
Box. Bill knows boxing. I almost said Bill from boxing. I'm sorry, Bill.
That's it.
So with a bit of luck and our mastery of technology, we should now both be recording this, so I can upload this to my channel and you can upload this to your channel as well at the same time.
Excellent. Hopefully it all works out. We're all
And
learning.
if
We're
it
all
doesn't,
learning.
we will learn that we are technologically retarded anyhow. So at least I am.
Time for I'll accept defeat and get the younger generation.
Yeah. So how are you doing, man?
Yeah, things are good. You know, I have a long-standing injury that plays up every now and then, and I just got through a period where it wasn't so good. So now it's okay again. So hey, life's okay.
All right. And
Yeah,
are
about
you
you?
excited about Saturday's fight? Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan is the fight I'm referring to. The first world title fight between two Irish fellows in Ireland.
And one from the north and one from the south. So it actually plays out very well that they have that north side divide or the north south divide, and not to go too deep into the religious side of it, but there is that religious divide as well. One's a Catholic, one's a Protestant. So it's actually it's actually set up quite nicely for the divide. And then we know from the first fight that there was those late blows from Paddy Donovan. So there's a little bit of edge to it as well.
Would I be correct in assuming that Lewis Crocker is the Protestant from
He is,
Belfast, and that
he's
Paddy
from
Donovan
Belfast.
happens to be a Catholic? Is
Yeah,
that's
and
that's how
that's
the
correct.
sectarian split is?
Yeah, that's correct. And he's from Limerick, so he's from down south, and Crocker is more from the north. He'd be an Antrim here, northwest.
Right. Okay. Interesting. And it's being held in Windsor Park, right?
It is, yeah. Same venue as the last time, which
Right.
I'm not sure about that. I think maybe Donovan deserved to have it in Limerick this time because they did it in Belfast the last time. Maybe they could have done it in Limerick this time, but it is what it is.
I guess also, I mean, officially, Lewis Crocker won the last fight.
He did.
I mean, I have my views about that. I've never spoken to you about your views on that. How did you think that went down?
I've seen it. I've seen the ending of it, and Donovan was winning the fight. There can be no dispute about it. He was ahead on points. He was winning the fight. Nobody could claim that Crocker was winning. But as we know, Donovan hit him maybe twice after the final bell, and rules are the rules. And Crocker won. Well, the record books say that Crocker won. Now, do I think that do I think it was fair? If you're a stickler for the rules, and if you say the rule is the rule is the rule, then you have to accept that the rule is that punches after the final bell shouldn't count. And either you allow the guy who has got hit after the bell, you either allow him 5 minutes to recover, or you decide that, well, he won because the other guy, you could argue that, Donovan was considered to have cheated because he hit after the bell. So by the letter of the law, yes, I suppose Crocker did win, but I expect Donovan to be better this time. I expect him to be a little bit more careful with his hands. He did have a problem earlier in that fight as well, where he was a bit. He did throw a little after the bell as well, so that's an area that he has to be conscious of, and I think that he definitely has to be a little bit more kind of careful. Now, does that take an edge off Donovan? That'll be interesting to see. Is he too careful? And then you look at Crocker and you say, well, is Donovan so much better than Crocker? Or did the real Crocker not show up that night? And are we going to get a better Crocker?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hope that, Donovan just simply does a better job this time and proves that the last time was just a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, as an independent with no sort of dog in the fight, I thought that Paddy Donovan had trouble keeping his emotions in check. But I actually thought that the referee made it much, much worse. And of course, at the very end, the referee was out of position, and so instead of being able to jump in and separate the fighters, he was out of position. And I honestly don't know if Paddy Donovan or Lewis Crocker heard that bell, auditory
Yeah.
exclusion. So, yes, Paddy Donovan was officially in the wrong, but I think that the ref had the ref made it much, much worse. I mean, I thought Paddy Donovan simply was the better fighter on the night, and I thought that Lewis Crocker never really got underway. Um, Now, I have heard or read, I think, that Lewis Crocker may not have been himself that night. Billy Nelson, I think, was saying that he wasn't himself. So, will we see a different Lewis Crocker, or you know, is Paddy Donovan simply going to be the better fighter? What do you think is going to happen?
I would always question, having watched a couple of Bacoli fights and how underprepared he goes into the ring. I would always be suspicious of anything that Billy Nelson says, because his guys are
Yeah,
just
I
never
have to agree.
his guys are never prepared, and and it's always their fault. It's never his fault. So I would take what Billy Nelson says with a large pinch of salt.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree based on, when you look at Martin Bacoli, I, yeah, I think Billy Nelson should probably be quiet
Yeah,
for quite a while.
it's a little
But
bit. It's a bit like
do you think that Lewis Crocker can do better this time?
he was completely outclassed in the first fight, and you know you would like to think that it would be a more competitive fight. And if it is that he didn't show up, and if it is that the real Lewis Crocker didn't show up, well then that if that's true, then it stands to reason that he has to be better this time round. But he was so outclassed that I see, yes, he could be better, but I don't see him beating Donovan. I think Donovan was just too good. And I expect Donovan to be more precise this time and to be a little bit more careful with his hands and to, good fighters, good anybody in any career, any discipline you have. If you have an experience where it doesn't go wrong, you learn from that experience and you're a bit better the next time around. So I'd imagine that Donovan he'll just be better. I think, and I accept that Crocker will improve, but I don't think Crocker will make that much of a leap because there was quite a difference between the two.
Yeah, I wonder also, um, like Crocker really had a beating laid
Yeah,
upon him. How will that affect him psychologically? Because Donovan has to have the bit between his teeth. Like he knows he can hurt Crocker. He knows he can actually, give Crocker a beating,
yeah,
not just a win, but a real beating. So I would think that Crocker would have all that confidence and enthusiasm where Donovan would have that, and maybe Crocker would have be somewhat nervous. I would think.
yeah. Donovan for me is looking to continue what he was doing in the first fight. Crocker is looking for a complete restart. And like I said, based on the first fight, it's all you can do because we haven't seen them fight together previously. Based on the first fight, the only logic to take from it is that Donovan was better, but he was a little reckless with his hands. And again, we've seen referees; they can really have a huge impact on a fight. You know,
Yeah.
if they're doing their job, if they are paying attention, they can make the difference. And maybe Donovan doesn't get disqualified the last time if the ref is doing a better job. As you said, he was out of position, and a ref out of position makes a difference. So, I expect Donovan to win, and I expect it to be a little bit like the last one, but maybe Crocker will be a bit better. But I don't see it. I don't see the difference. I don't see Crocker winning. I don't think he's going to be that much better. What do you think?
Have you seen what the betting odds are in Ireland? I haven't checked here
No,
in my part of the world.
I don't
Um,
actually. I don't pay attention to the odds. I just kind of. So I don't really place any bets down. I just kind of watch. I just kind of watch along and just see and just enjoy the action. So I'd imagine, based on the first fight, without seeing the odds, I'd imagine that Donovan is favourite, just because
yeah.
he was genuinely so much better than Crocker in the first fight.
Is there a lot of excitement in the Republic about this fight, or are
There is
people?
talk. Yeah, it is getting some traction. You see it online, and you see it, like, people are talking about it, and even the BBC have been talking about it as well. So,
Oh, right.
it's made the BBC sports website as well, and so there is genuine interest, and I think the North South thing gives that little extra bit of spice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the media have to be somewhat careful about promoting that because it's been it's an issue that could sort of get out of hand, right? So I guess it's not like a local derby, Man U versus Man City. It's a much bigger political issue as well.
Yeah, and I suppose what you would like to think is that it's simply boxing, and that the politics doesn't really play a part, because people are not talking about the politics of it. Like, it's it's referenced that there are north-south divide. It is referenced that one is a Catholic, one is a Protestant, but it's only referenced. Nobody's actually making any big thing about it. So
Right.
I think that helps a lot
Yeah, okay. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that all the action is in the ring
in the ring. I
and that
mean,
we don't get any spillover.
and we've seen it in other fights, like, without any kind of historical stuff going on. Like, some fights just continue outside the ring. The
Yeah, yeah.
fans get involved, and then it all gets a bit ugly. But I don't think
And
it didn't happen in the first fight, so I'd like to think that it won't happen this time.
sometimes alcohol might be a factor, right? And
There
I
is that.
suspect that they maybe alcohol served at Windsor Park, or at least some of the boys might have had a few tipples before the fight.
A few drams.
Well, I'm looking forward to this fight. I like you. I tend to think that Paddy Donovan is going to prevail, and hopefully it's going to be a really good, all action fight. The best man wins. I think it could be fun. I think it could be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, definitely. More than what's going on elsewhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, we've got, of course, I saw somebody
Two
today.
absolute no hopers. These guys, nobody's ever heard of them. Two no hopers.
I saw somebody today was saying online that this is the fight of the century, and I thought that was sort of overstating it a little bit. Though, of course, I from the perspective of people watching, because of course it's free on Netflix,
Mhm.
and especially Canelo, is possibly one of the most well-known boxers in the world. Uh, it's an interesting fight. I am excited about it. And I think I'm in a very small minority of people that's put some money on Bud Crawford winning.
Yeah.
Most people seem to think that Canelo's going to win. Canelo's what, 63, 2-2,
Yeah.
lost only to B-Ball and Floyd.
Two no,
Drew back in.
another two absolute no hopers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's two unknown people. Yeah, and of course, Bud Crawford is unbeaten.
Yeah.
Moved all the way now up to 140, 147, 154, skipped 160. and making his debut at 168 against inarguably the best 168er that's still active.
Crawford has said that he doesn't see himself going beyond 154. So while I think he can win, I think that his own admission about the concern about the weight is a problem. And the fact that, Canelo has been fighting at 168 now for a while and is perfectly comfortable at 168. Crawford, I think, has the speed, even though he's older, I think he hasn't shipped as much damage as Canelo. I think that in some ways he's fresher and in some ways he might have the energy. But the jump to 168, you've seen it with like one of the all-time greats, Roy Jones Jr. When he went to heavyweight and he came back down to light heavyweight and he went in against Tarver and he hadn't weight adjusted and he got beat. And if he had weight adjusted, I've no doubt he would have beaten Tarver. But he went in against Tarver and he got pretty easily beaten. So I think Crawford can win. I think if Crawford starts strong and can keep it going, I think he can win. However, he has never taken shots from a 168 guy. And
no,
Bivens been taking shots from 168 guys. So, I think it's a problem. The weight is a problem. And, Crawford's own admission that he's a 154 at best guy, that's,
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if I lose my money, put it that way. Maybe it's more emotion and hope than a serious analysis. But I'm also concerned that, once Crawford tastes Canelo's power, like he's never really taken shots from anybody who can hit as hard as Canelo. Like the weight alone, right? Whereas Canelo, we know, can take shots like Triple G hit him really flush. Bivol it was 175er. He was pounding shots on him, and nothing seems to, like, Canelo's got an iron chin and the neck on him. He's built to take those heavy shots.
But there's one thing in Crawford's favor, is that you've seen it with the likes of Joe Joyce and people like that at heavyweight, that eventually the chin is cracked and that eventually the chin is not as good as it once was. And Bivol's got damaged. He's taken a lot of, sorry, not Bivol, Canelo. He's taken shots. He's taken damage. He is slower than he was. His footwork isn't as good. He doesn't move the way he used to move. And I think that Crawford can win. If he can stay with Canelo, I think he can win. I think he can probably get a TKO. I'm not sure he can win on points. I have a suspicion that Canelo's got it wrapped if it goes to points. But I think that, it is possible that if Crawford is at his peak on the night, that he can maybe get a TKO. What do you think?
Well, it's that, that's the only chance for my bet to come in. Like you, I am somewhat doubtful that in Vegas, because I think Vegas gives Canelo, like, 2 rounds up before the fight starts. He's loved in Vegas.
Yeah. He's the hometown boy. He's the hometown boy without being the hometown boy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's a good way to put it. I also put a small bet on it being a draw, because I thought if Crawford has actually edged it on points, they don't want to give it to Crawford, but they might give it as a draw. So,
It's terrible though, isn't it? I mean, here is potentially the fight of the year, and we're like, yeah, it won't go Crawford's way, even if Crawford's winning.
I mean, maybe I'm just being really stupidly cynical, which is totally possible, of course. But, I don't have a lot of faith, to be honest, in judging. We've seen some interesting decisions come down the pike over the years. and you know,
Something to
the big
consider.
money.
I
Say
think
again?
I think something to consider is the fact that allegedly this is Crawford's last fight, and that Canelo has future fights lined up. And
Yes.
I wonder again, the cynical side of me comes out and says, "Well, is that gonna mean that if it goes the distance, that Canelo gets it based on the fact that he's got future business, whereas Crawford may be hanging it up afterwards?" Now, maybe Crawford doesn't hang it up. Maybe Crawford says, "No, I can do this. I can do it at this weight." Maybe he will continue, but I have a sneaky suspicion that if Canelo gets a decision, then that could be it for Crawford. And the other thing that would concern me was that because it's a 168 and Crawford's never been here before, if he's not able to take Canelo's power, that maybe it's not controversial. Maybe he could just get stopped, and maybe that's just it. Maybe
Yeah,
Canelo can
well,
just stop him. You know?
yeah. I mean, Canelo hasn't stopped anybody since, is it 2021? I
Yeah,
think.
but the difference is that he's been fighting people at 168 who have been
Yeah,
meeting him.
that's true.
They've been meeting him at 168. That's
Yeah,
that's the problem for Crawford. Crawford's coming up 2 weight classes
yeah.
to do this 168 fight, whereas Canelo has been comfortable fighting people at 168. So it's all on Crawford to prove that he can make those differences and that he can actually make it happen. I would say Canelo is favorite, but I do see a way for Crawford to win. I think a TKO is possible with an accumulation of action, and that
Yeah.
maybe he can wear down Canelo, because if you look at Canelo's footwork, it's not as good as it was. And
No, that's true.
and if Crawford can handle the weight, that's where I think Crawford's got a shot.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, right? Are
They're a
you going
long
to get
away.
up in the middle of? Are you getting up in the middle of the night to watch it?
I won't. I won't. So I'll catch it later. I
For me, it's a good time zone
Mm.
because Vegas is pretty much the same time as me. I think there's a 1 hour difference between Vegas and myself.
Yeah.
So for me, the show starts at like 5 o'clock, and I'll spend my Saturday evening watching it free on Netflix. So I don't have to give up any of my beauty sleep, and it'll be a suitable time, and it'll get me out of doing horse chores.
Well, see, there you go. It's a win-win for you, my friend.
Yeah. You will be watching, I guess, the Lewis Crocker Paddy Donovan
I
fight,
will
though.
watch that one. Yeah, I'm more, like I said, I'm more interested in that one just because it's a local
Yeah,
derby, and
yeah,
I just have more of an attachment to feeling like I'd like Donovan to win, and I'd be a little disappointed if he loses. Whereas I'd like Crawford to win, but I won't. I don't expect him to win. So if he doesn't win, I won't be that disappointed. But I'd be more disappointed if lost, because I genuinely believe he'll win.
yeah. I think I would agree with you. Like for me, slightly different. I want Crawford to win, but honestly, if he loses, first of all, I'm not really expecting him to win,
Yeah.
and I don't actually care. But with Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan, I think Paddy Donovan was treated quite unfairly
Mhm.
in the first fight. I know he broke the rules, but I think it was the ref to blame, to be honest. And so if he loses this fight, I will feel in some ways as though he got the raw end of the stick. So I think I'm on the same page as you. I actually care a little bit more about the Lewis Crocker Paddy Donovan fight than I do about Canelo and Crawford.
So, key question is Paddy Donovan Lewis Crocker the fight of the year? And is Canelo Crawford the supporting fight?
It could actually end up being like that with
I
all
think
the
we've
hype behind Canelo Crawford.
I
It
think we've
could be a
stumbled
bit of
upon
a
something.
dud.
we've stumbled upon something. This is actually the fight of the year. You know, the Canelo
And
Crawford thing is a bit of a fake beef, really, to be fair. You know?
well, and it wouldn't be the first time that you've had so much hype, and it could be a bit of a flat affair. I
Yeah.
mean, Crawford says he's going to meet Canelo in the middle, but when Crawford tastes the power, he might decide to fight off the back foot, and it's going to be Canelo plodding around the ring trying to find him again, which will be like, oh, ho hum, another Canelo fight.
Crawford
I don't
wins.
know.
Crawford wins only one way. He fights southpaw on the back foot. If he
Right.
stands in the pocket with Canelo, it's going to be a short night because
Yeah.
the power is the power is the power. And if you're not used to taking power from guys that are 2 weight classes ahead of you, as we know, weight classes are there for a reason. It's
For
to
sure.
it's to keep it fairly respectable, keep it fairly even. If you're jumping up 2 weight classes and you've not tasted that power before on a consistent basis, you can't stand in the pocket and trade. You will be beaten. And even if
Yeah. I
Canelo,
mean,
if Canelo, you could say that Canelo's slowing down. You could say Canelo has more wear and tear, but Canelo is used to doing 168. So
yeah.
if Crawford, for me, can only win fighting southpaw on the back foot. If he trades with Canelo, he's done.
And there is an expression: a good big un will always beat a good little un,
Yeah,
right? They could both be equally good fighters, but if they're equally good fighters, chances are that the big man is going to beat the little man.
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when the big man is comfortable at the weight,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the
No, for
and the
sure.
and the little guy is basically winging it at the weight, going, "I think I can do this, but I'm not sure. Let's find out."
Yeah.
You know,
And I've never done it, right? So,
and
yeah,
the
this
guy
is
I'm
the thing.
fighting, is considered one of the best in this generation. So hey, you know,
Yeah, and he is. I mean, the names on Canelo's record, even if he caught some of them towards the end of their career or whatever, the names on Canelo's record are better than the names on Crawford's record. Like the resumes, they are lopsided.
yeah.
I
He
mean,
lost twice, right? But he lost twice to Dimitri Bivol and Floyd Mayweather. You know,
yes, yeah.
everybody else loses to those guys, so it's not exactly a
Yeah,
problem for
well,
for
well,
Canelo.
yes,
You know?
absolutely, yeah, right. I mean, and Crawford's best win is Errol Spence, maybe.
Yeah,
You know,
and
Errol Spence post traumatic car accident.
so you're not if you're balancing record against record, you know, Canelo's ahead. If you're balancing 168 experience versus Crawford, Canelo's ahead.
Oh,
Crawford has to fight the perfect fight, which is
yes,
maybe, you know, southpaw on the back foot. Because I don't think he can. I don't think he could have put on that much muscle in the last couple of months, and I don't think he can realistically trade with Canelo because whether we think Canelo's slowing down or not, you know, if you look at Canelo, he's physically a bigger guy. His
oh yeah, and power's the last thing to go.
This is it.
So
Big
yeah,
George could always knock you out. Big George might
yeah.
not have Big George might not have been able to catch you, but if he caught you, it was lights out. You know,
As Michael Moorer found out.
absolutely.
Um, before we go, I look at the clock up in the top corner there. What are your preliminary thoughts on Joe Parker and Fabio Wardley?
If Parker is the real deal, and if he is a genuine title contender, then I think he beats Wardley. You know, Hooney gave Wardley the blues, and you know Wardley was quite lucky to have that Hail Mary shot that he won the fight with. So, you know, like I said, if Parker is the real deal, he should win. What would you
Yeah,
say?
no, that's how I think. I mean, I like them both.
Yeah.
I'll be happy
Either way.
with either man winning. I very much like Fabio Wardley. He might be my favorite British heavyweight, but I also like Joe Parker. But I think really Fabio Wardley's got to land that big right hand, and if Joe Parker is switched on, Fabio's not going to get the chance. I mean, Justice Hooney kind of took his eye off the ball, got too excited, youthful exuberance, inexperience, and he walked on to the big right hand. I don't see Joe Parker making the same mistake. And I think Joe Parker is every bit as good a boxer as Justice Hooney. So I think it's going to end in a win for Joe Parker.
And then he might get the Usyk fight.
Maybe.
It is interesting that Turkey doesn't. It is interesting that Turkey doesn't want that fight. You know?
No, my fear as a fan is that we're going to see Fury 3, Usyk Fury 3, which I have. Of course, I'll watch it, but I'm not. That's not a fight that I want to see happen.
I actually wouldn't. I actually wouldn't watch that fight. I've seen the story and I've seen the sequel, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Rambo movies. You know, you've seen one, you don't need 5.
No, that's true. Anyway, Bill, I guess I should let you go, and we should upload our videos to our respective channels.
Looking forward to that.
And I'm pleased to see that you're still pumping out the content on your channel, and good luck.
Thank you.
I'm going to give a shout out. Bill Knows Boxing. If you haven't been to Bill Knows Boxing, go to visit Bill Knows Boxing. Like, share, and subscribe. And also like, share, and subscribe to Candas Boxing Channel.
Absolutely. You'd be missing out if you don't.
All right, my friend. Take it easy, and we'll talk probably after the big fights on Saturday.
Absolutely. Cheers, Bob. Nice one.
Cheers, man. Talk to you.